Hi, my name is Hannah Peak, and this is Back on Your Feet, a brief education on the many factors of homelessness. So you may be wondering why I'm making this video, and this slide is just going to explain it a little bit. So I am currently working on my Gold Award project. The Gold Award is the highest achievement in Girl Scouts in the United States. Girl Scouts who are in high school, so 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders, are eligible to earn it. A Girl Scout who's aiming to earn their Gold Award must create and enact a plan for a project that is meaningful, sustainable, and works towards solving problems throughout their communities and throughout the world. So for my Gold Award project, I decided I wanted to help homeless people. So I got in touch with a couple of shelters, a couple of services, and I ended up doing my project with a homeless shelter in Easton, PA. It is called Third Street Alliance for Women and Children. So my team and I went up to the shelter. We painted 2 of their rooms, which you can see over in these pictures on the slide. And my team and I also did some artwork, sort of to help boost the positivity of the environment in the shelter. And I'm letting people know how they can make a difference when it comes to homelessness through resources such as this presentation. Again, these pictures over here are pictures of the rooms in progress. Now, these pictures on this slide are pictures of some of the positive artwork that my team and I did to hang up in the shelter to boost the positivity. So, real quick, I just want to go over some common misconceptions. So, background doesn't affect homelessness. Most people are homeless due to addiction. Homeless people should just find a job. There are enough homeless services. Homeless people are violent. Homeless people are lazy. And it is impossible to solve the problem of homelessness. Again, these are all misconceptions, so I do have proof that misproves these incorrect statements. So before we get to the facts that disprove the misconceptions, I just want to real quick clarify which definition of homelessness I'm using, because even within the different departments of the United States, within the government, there are sometimes different definitions. So I will be using the United States Department of Education's definition of homelessness. So they define homelessness as sharing housing with others due to a lack of their own housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason, living in motels, hotels, camping grounds, or trailer parks due to a lack of alternative housing, living in emergency or transitional shelters, or one shelter, being abandoned in a hospital or multiple hospitals, waiting to be placed in foster care, and living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, so housing that isn't all that great, bus or train stations, places like that. So meeting any of these requirements would have someone be considered homeless. So these are some facts that disprove the misconceptions stated on the slide a couple slides back. So many people are actually homeless because of an uncontrollable and unavoidable situation. So, we can't control or avoid everything in our lives. Things like social, economic, geographical background are sometimes pretty difficult to control, and that does impact how likely someone is to be homeless. You know, race, we can't control race or ethnicity, things like that. Those also impact how likely someone is to be homeless. And there are a lot of uncontrollable, unavoidable situations that can occur that can increase the likelihood of someone being homeless. Substances can cause homelessness, but more often than not, homelessness is actually the cause of the addiction. So obviously, being homeless isn't something that someone is going to want to be able to say that they achieved in their life. So they may turn to substances to sort of avoid the reality of the situation that they're in, help them not constantly think about the situation that they're in. There are a lot of roadblocks on the way to getting a job. So usually when you want to get a job, you need a resume, reliable transportation, clean clothes for the interview to make a good first impression to hopefully get hired. And then if you do get hired, you need clean clothes to work. And usually you do need some form of contact, like a cell phone or a computer. Um, and if you're homeless, the likelihood of you having all of these, it's not really high, and it is possible that you might not even have any of these. Ending homelessness is not just about giving people food and a place to stay. While it is great that those services do exist to provide shelter and food for those who do not have access to it, that is not going to break the cycle of homelessness. Breaking the cycle of homelessness, you need job support, healthcare, affordable housing, family services, access to education, all those sorts of things. And that is not, those are not as widely seen services as shelter and food. Homeless people are more likely to be victims of violence, not the ones causing it. So there have been quite a few studies done that show that homeless people are actually more likely to be victims of violence, not the perpetrators. However, when homeless people are violent, it is much more widely broadcast than when a non-homeless person is violent. Everybody has the ability to be violent, but when it is a homeless person, they are more likely to, you can record them on social media, and you're not as likely to record a non-homeless person being just as violent or even more violent, and put that on social media. And then the regular media, like radios, TV shows, things like that, also tend to misrepresent homeless people as violent, which does increase the belief of the misconception just because of how much media is consumed. There are a lot of factors that go into being homeless. A lot of them are uncontrollable and unavoidable. Once you fall into the cycle of homelessness, it can be very hard to get out of it. You can't control everything. If, for example, there's a really bad storm that takes out houses, and you end up homeless, you had nothing to do with that. You can't control the weather, but you are homeless nonetheless. And it is not impossible to solve the situation of homelessness. There are actually many ways that we can help. Just because it hasn't been achieved yet doesn't mean it never will be. Increasing programs and services and decreasing belief in misconceptions are a couple of things that we can do that can point us toward resolving the issue of homelessness. So, how many people are really homeless? So, there is something called the point in time or pit count. Is conducted annually on a single night in January. So once a year, one night in January, predetermined people, predetermined organizations will go out and they will count people that meet the requirements of homelessness, both sheltered and unsheltered homeless people. Now, these links down here, I unfortunately cannot click on as I'm recording this, but I just want to go over some things that you might not know what they mean. So COC is a continuum of care. So basically, there's an organization or a government, either state or local government, and they'll have funding provided to them so that they can encourage community-wide commitment to ending homelessness and rehouse the homeless without, hopefully, they will minimize possible trauma and displacement that can occur. COC is much more detailed because states can have multiple COCs. Up here where it says counts by state, that is just like a general overall recording of homeless people overall in the state. So, factors that may cause homelessness: lack of affordable housing, low income and an inability to continue paying for essentials, health issues. Medical bills can cost a lot, and if you're spending time paying off medical bills, you might not be able to pay for food, to keep your electricity, to keep your car, things like that. If you're escaping violence, there are a lot of reasons why someone may need to escape a situation, and if they do not have a alternative solution readily available, then they can end up homeless. Racial inequality, we've seen it before, and it does extend to homelessness. Yeah. If you are in a time of crisis, so if there was a tornado, a hurricane, a really bad storm, tsunami, things like that, took out your house, you can end up homeless. Again, link that I cannot click on, unfortunately, but it is here. It, along with the other links, will be put in the description. Or if you feel like pausing the video and typing it all out, be my guest. The impact of being homeless, poor well-being. So physical and emotional well-being can really suffer if you're homeless. You can lose relationships. If your only way to maintain relationships is through contacting somebody with a phone or a computer, and you lose that when you're homeless, you can lose that relationship. Or if you became homeless for a controversial reason, or you're trying to get out of homelessness in a controversial way, you can end up having suffering relationships. You can end up with an inability to cope properly. So if you're extremely saddened, you may express that as extreme anger. When you are homeless, you sort of zero in tunnel vision on survival, and all those emotions that you might have might not necessarily be your main priority for survival. You are also at a higher risk of developing health issues or worsening health issues. If you don't have any health issues and you become homeless, you might end up with health issues. If you have a health issue and you become homeless, you might end up with a chronic health issue. So, these are some ways you can help. Wish lists, services, things like that. HUD is down at the bottom. The Homeless Assistance Program, HUD Exchange, is a resource, a government resource that I use to actually get a lot of information here. Will be down in the description. Sources will also be down in the description. So, as I said before, I'm working on earning my gold award. So I just want to go over the impact that my gold award had and some things I learned through doing this project. So my team and I put a fresh coat of paint in 2 rooms in the shelter. Each room had 2 walk-in closets, a bed for a mother, a bunk bed that can fit 2 children, and a pack and play. And my team and I also created artwork designed to increase the positivity in the environment. This PowerPoint also had an impact due to, all the education, and hopefully it will have a domino effect and you will share what you learned with your friends, family. And what did I learn? I learned quite a few things about myself, things I might want to improve on, things I am actually better at than I thought I was. And my advice actually for the Gold Award, start, if you want to earn it, start as soon as possible. Just start thinking about what you are passionate about. If that has any issues, how you can fix it. It is a process, so just give yourself time. You got it. Just give yourself time so that you don't get too stressed.